As they delved deeper into the research, a pattern began to emerge. Human DNA, it seemed, had an extraordinary ability to repair itself. This self-repair mechanism, coupled with the robust telomeres, had allowed humans to survive and thrive in a variety of harsh conditions. It's not just about the telomeres, Elena explained during a crucial meeting. Our entire genetic structure has evolved to be incredibly resilient. We adapt not just over generations, but within our own lifetimes. Commander Zhang nodded thoughtfully. And you believe this resilience can be transferred to the Zorans? Elena shared a look with Zal before responding. We think so, yes. But it's not without risks. We're talking about fundamentally altering the genetic structure of an entire species. The implications are, well, they're enormous. The room erupted in discussion. Some voiced concerns about unintended consequences, others about the ethical implications of such a procedure. Through it all, Elena felt the weight of responsibility on her shoulders. They were on the brink of something monumental, a collaboration that could reshape the future of two species. As the meeting wound down, Elena found herself standing alone at the observation window, gazing out at the stars. Zal joined her, his presence a comforting silence. Do you think we can do it? Elena asked softly. Save your people. Zal's skin shimmered with a deep purple, a color Elena had come to associate with profound emotion. I believe in the possibility, he said. But more than that, I believe in the spirit I've seen in you and your team. You humans have a saying, don't you? Where there's a will, there's a way. Elena smiled. We do say that, yes. Then let us will it so, Zal said, his voice filled with newfound hope. Together, we will find a way. As they stood there, an unlikely pair of scientists from two vastly different worlds, Elena felt a surge of determination. The path ahead was uncertain, filled with challenges they could scarcely imagine. But in that moment, gazing out at the infinite expanse of space, she knew they were on the brink of something extraordinary. The stars had finally answered humanity's age-old question, are we alone? The answer was no. And now, in a twist of cosmic irony, it fell to humanity, young, resilient, adaptable humanity, to reach out a helping hand to their new galactic neighbors. The adventure was just beginning. The unlikely solution. The space station hummed with an energy unlike anything it had experienced before. In the weeks following the Zorans' arrival, it had transformed from a quiet research outpost to the epicenter of humanity's most important scientific endeavor. Dr. Elena Rees found herself at the heart of it all, her days a whirlwind of groundbreaking discoveries and daunting challenges. As Elena made her way to the main laboratory, she couldn't help but marvel at the sight of humans and Zorans working side by side. The initial awkwardness had given way to a camaraderie born of shared purpose. She spotted Zal hunched over a holographic display, his iridescent skin pulsing with shades of deep blue, a sign of intense concentration. Any breakthroughs? Elena asked, sliding into the seat next to him. Zal's skin rippled with a quick flash of yellow surprise, before settling back into its focused blue. Perhaps, take a look at this. The hologram expanded, showing a complex web of genetic markers. Elena leaned in, her eyes widening as she took in the implications. Is this what I think it is? She breathed. Zal nodded, his skin now shimmering with a hopeful green. It appears that the human telomere's resilience is linked to a specific protein complex. We've isolated it, and early simulations suggest it could be compatible with Zoran DNA. Elena's mind raced with possibilities. This could be the key they've been searching for, a way to transfer human genetic resilience to the Zorans without causing rejection or unforeseen side effects. We need to run more tests, Elena said, already reaching for her tablet to log the new data. And we'll need volunteers for human trials. Zal's skin darkened slightly. You would risk your own people for this. Elena met his gaze steadily. To save an entire species? Yes, and I'll be the first volunteer. The news of their potential breakthroughs spread quickly through the station. Elena found herself in a series of high-stakes meetings, explaining the intricacies of their discovery to military officials, politicians, and ethical committees. Lie historic. Let me get this straight, General Hawthorne said during one particularly tense video conference. You want to inject alien DNA into human subjects. Elena took a deep breath, steeling herself. Not exactly, General. We're looking to transfer a specific protein complex that could potentially strengthen Zoran telomeres. The risk to human subjects is minimal, but the potential benefit to the Zorans is immeasurable. The debate raged on, with concerns ranging from national security to the philosophical implications of altering alien biology. Through it all, Elena stood firm, her conviction unwavering. As the bureaucratic wheels turned slowly on Earth, Elena and her team pressed forward with their research. They worked tirelessly, running simulation after simulation, refining their approach. One evening, as Elena was poring over the latest test results, she felt a gentle touch on her shoulder. She looked up to see Zol, his skin a soft, comforting lavender. "You should rest," he said gently. "You've been at this for hours." Elena rolled her eyes, suddenly aware of how tired she was. "I can't stop now. We're so close, Zal. I can feel it." Zal's skin rippled with a mix of concern and admiration. "Your dedication is remarkable. In all our travels, we've never encountered a species quite like yours." Elena smiled wryly. "Stubborn, you mean?" "Resilient," Zal corrected. "It's not just in your genes, Elena. It's in your spirit." Their conversation was interrupted by an urgent call from the communications hub. Commander Zhang's face appeared on the nearest screen, his expression grave. "Dr. Rees, we have a situation. There's growing opposition on Earth to the Zoran collaboration. Protests have broken out in several major cities." Elena's heart sank. They'd expected some resistance, but this? What are they saying? "The usual fears," Zhang replied. "That we're risking humanity for an alien species, that this is the first step towards invasion or colonization. Some religious groups are calling it an affront to natural order." Elena clenched her fists, frustration building. They were so close to a breakthrough, and now this. "We need to address this head-on," she said firmly. "Set up a global press conference. It's time we showed the world exactly what's at stake here." The next day, Elena found herself facing a barrage of cameras, her image broadcast to millions around the world. She took a deep breath, reminding herself of all that hung in the balance. "People of Earth," she began, her voice steady despite her nerves. "I stand before you not just as a scientist, but as a fellow human being. The Zorans came to us in their hour of need, not as conquerors, but as a species facing extinction. They have traveled across the galaxy, placing their hopes in humanity's hands." She paused, letting her words sink in before continuing. "Some fear that by helping the Zorans, we risk ourselves. I'm here to tell you that the opposite is true. In reaching out to save another species, we have the opportunity to elevate our own. The research we're conducting isn't just about saving the Zorans, it's about unlocking the secrets of our own genetic resilience." Elena went on to explain, in terms accessible to the general public, the nature of their research and its potential benefits not just for the Zorans, but for humanity as well. She spoke of potential breakthroughs in longevity, disease resistance, and adaptation to harsh environments, all possible outcomes of their current work. "This is more than a scientific endeavor," she concluded passionately. "This is a testament to the very best of humanity, our compassion, our ingenuity, and our unwavering spirit in the face of challenges. We have the chance to not only save a species, but to forge a bond that could lead to unimaginable advancements for both our peoples. I ask you all to look beyond fear, beyond the boundaries of our world, and embrace this historic opportunity." As Elena stepped away from the podium, she felt a mixture of exhaustion and exhilaration. She'd laid it all out there, hoping to appeal to humanity's better nature. In the days that followed, the tide of public opinion began to shift. While there were still pockets of resistance, the overwhelming response was one of cautious optimism. Volunteers for the human trials poured in, inspired by Elena's words and the prospect of being part of something true. Back on the station, work continued at a feverish pace. With the influx of volunteers, they were able to accelerate their trials. Each day brought new insights, new challenges, and new reasons to hope. It was during one late-night session that the final piece fell into place. Elena was reviewing the latest batch of data when something caught her eye. She blinked, sure she must be mistaken, but no, it was there, clear as day. "Zal," she called out, her voice trembling with excitement. "Come look at this." The Zoran scientist hurried over, his skin pulsing with curiosity. As Elena explained what she'd found, Zal's colors shifted rapidly: surprise, disbelief, and finally, jubilation. They had done it. The human protein complex, when introduced to Zoran DNA under specific conditions, not only strengthened their telomeres, but triggered a cascade of repairs throughout their genetic structure. It was more than they had dared to hope for. As the realization of what they'd achieved sank in, Elena felt tears welling up in her eyes. Zal, in a very human gesture he must have picked up during his time on the station, placed a comforting hand on her shoulder. His skin glowed with a warm, golden light, pure joy. "Thank you," he said simply, his voice thick with emotion. "You've saved us all." Elena smiled through her tears. "We did this together, Zal. Humans and Zorans, working as one." As they stood there, basking in the glow of their breakthrough, Elena knew that this was just the beginning. They had unlocked a door to possibilities beyond imagining. The path ahead would not be easy. There were still trials to run, protocols to establish, and undoubtedly new challenges to face. But in that moment, gazing at the data that represented hope for an entire species, Elena felt a profound sense of purpose. Humanity had been given a chance to prove itself on a cosmic stage, and they had risen to the challenge. The stars, it seemed, had much more in store for them all. The risky procedure and unforeseen consequences. The day of the first human-Zoran genetic transfer arrived with a mix of excitement and trepidation. Elena, true to her word, volunteered to be the first human subject. As she lay on the medical bay's examination table, Zal stood nearby, his skin a swirl of anxious colors. "Are you certain about this, Elena?" Zal asked, his voice tinged with concern. Elena nodded, her resolve unwavering. "We've come too far to turn back now." The procedure began. A carefully synthesized version of the human protein complex was introduced into Elena's bloodstream, while a sample of her genetically modified cells was prepared for transfer to a Zoran volunteer. Minutes ticked by, feeling like hours. Suddenly, alarms blared. Elena's vitals spiked erratically. Zal's skin flashed a panicked red as medical teams rushed in. Just as quickly as it started, the crisis passed. Elena stabilized, opening her eyes to a room full of relieved faces. "Did it work?" she asked weakly. Initial tests showed promise. The Zoran volunteer's genetic degradation had halted, and early signs of repair were visible. However, as days passed, unforeseen side effects emerged in both species. Elena developed heightened sensory perception and accelerated healing, while the Zoran experienced increased emotional volatility. More concerning, these changes seem to be progressing. "We've opened a door we don't fully understand," Elena admitted during an emergency meeting. "But we can't stop now. We need to stabilize these changes before they become irreversible." As they raced against time, Elena and Zal's bond deepened. They worked tirelessly, their unique perspectives combining to tackle the challenge from angles neither would have considered alone. Their breakthrough came unexpectedly. By fine-tuning the transfer process and introducing a stabilizing compound derived from a rare earth fungus, they managed to control the genetic changes. As the procedure was refined and implemented on a larger scale, both species began to see remarkable benefits. The Zoran's genetic degradation reversed, while humans gained increased resilience to disease and environmental stressors. Elena stood at the observation window, watching Earth rotate slowly below. Zal joined her, his skin a calm, contented blue. "We did it," Elena said softly. We really did it. Zal's skin shimmered with agreement. Yes, but I suspect our journey is far from over. Elena nodded, her mind already racing with the possibilities that lay ahead. The stars seemed closer than ever, promising new adventures and discoveries in the vast expanse of space. Breakthroughs and betrayals. The months following the successful genetic transfer were a whirlwind of activity. As news of the breakthrough spread, the International Space Station became a hub of global attention. Scientists from around the world clamored to join the research team, while diplomats worked tirelessly to establish new protocols for human-Zoran interaction. Elena found herself at the center of it all, her days filled with research, meetings, and press conferences. The changes in her own body, a result of the genetic transfer, continued to fascinate and sometimes alarm her. Her senses were sharper than ever, and she found herself healing from minor injuries at an astonishing rate. One morning, as Elena was reviewing the latest batch of data, she noticed something odd. Zal, she called out, take a look at this. The Zoran scientist glided over, his skin pulsing with curiosity. Elena pointed to a series of genetic markers on her screen. These weren't here before. It's as if our combined DNA is evolving. Zal's skin rippled with a mix of excitement and concern. Fascinating. But what does it mean for our people? Before Elena could respond, an alarm blared through the station. Commander Zhang's voice came over the intercom, tense and urgent. Dr. Reeves, report to the command center immediately. When Elena arrived, she found the command center in chaos. Screens displayed news feeds from Earth, showing protests erupting in major cities around the globe. The headlines were sensational: human-alien hybrids, the end of humanity, and government cover-up of alien genetic manipulation exposed. What's going on? Elena demanded. Commander Zhang's face was grim. Someone leaked classified information about the genetic transfers. The public is in an uproar, and there are calls for an immediate halt to all Zoran collaboration. Elena felt her heart sink. They'd worked so hard to build trust, and now it was all unraveling. We need to get ahead of this, she said. I'll prepare a statement. Her words were cut off by another alarm. This time it was coming from the Zoran quarters of the station. When Elena and Jean arrived, they found the Zoran scientists in a state of agitation, their skin flashing with colors Elena had never seen before. Zal approached them, his usual calm demeanor shaken. We've received a transmission from our homeworld, he said, his voice trembling. There's been a coup. A faction opposed to our collaboration with humans has seized power. They're demanding we return immediately and cease all contact with Earth. The revelation hit Elena like a physical blow. Everything they'd worked for was suddenly at risk. But as she looked around at the faces of her human and Zoran colleagues, she saw not defeat, but determination. We're not giving up, Elena declared. Not when we've come this far. Over the next few days, Elena and her team worked around the clock. They compiled all their research, showing irrefutable evidence of the benefits of the human-Zoran collaboration. Elena gave interviews, patiently explaining the science and addressing fears. Zal and the other Zorans sent impassioned pleas to their homeworld, arguing for the continuation of their work. But opposition continued to grow. Anti-alien sentiment on Earth reached a fever pitch, with some extremist groups calling for the forcible removal of all Zorans from the planet. On the Zoran homeworld, the new government began preparations for a rescue mission to save their scientists from human influence. It was during this tense time that Elena made a startling discovery. Hidden deep in the classified files was evidence of a conspiracy that spanned both human and Zoran governments. A small faction on both sides had been working to sabotage the collaboration from the beginning, fearing the changes it would bring to their societies. We've been played, Elena told Zal and Commander Zhang in a secure meeting. There are people on both sides who never wanted this to succeed. Zhang's expression hardened. Then we make sure it succeeds despite them. With renewed purpose, they formulated a plan. Using Elena's enhanced abilities and Zal's deep understanding of Zoran technology, they managed to bypass the communication blackout imposed by both governments. In a historic broadcast, Elena and Zal addressed both species simultaneously, laying bare the conspiracy and the true potential of their work. "We stand at a crossroads," Elena said, her voice carried across light years. "We can choose fear, isolation, and stagnation, or we can choose hope, collaboration, and growth. The universe is vast and full of wonders. Together, we can explore it in ways neither of our," Zal continued, his skin glowing with passionate colors. "To my fellow Zorans, I say this. The humans have given us more than a cure. They've given us a future we can shape together." As their words spread, public opinion began to shift. Protests turned into rallies of support. Scientists and citizens alike demanded the continuation of the Human Zoran project. But their victory came at a cost. The conspiracy, now exposed, wouldn't go down without a fight. As Elena and Zal ended their broadcast, alarms blared once again through the station. On the monitors, they saw ships approaching, human and Zoran vessels, on an intercept course. Elena and Zal shared a look of determination. Whatever came next, they would face it together. The fate of both their species hung in the balance, and they were ready to fight for the future they believed in. As the ships drew closer, Elena felt a strange calm settled over her. They had overcome so much already. This was just one more challenge on their journey to the stars. With Zal by her side and the combined ingenuity of humans and Zorans at their disposal, she knew they stood a chance. The next chapter of their adventure was about to begin, and the whole universe was watching. Confrontation and a new era. As the hostile ships approached the station, Elena and Zal sprang into action. Using their combined knowledge and Elena's enhanced abilities, they devised a plan to broadcast the truth about their work to both fleets simultaneously. "We need to show them what we've achieved," Elena said, her fingers flying over the controls. Zal's skin pulsed in agreement, "and what we can still accomplish together." Just as the ships came within firing range, Elena and Zal activated their makeshift transmitter. Screens throughout both fleets lit up with images of their groundbreaking research, testimonials from cured Zorans, and data on the potential benefits for both species. The effect was immediate. Communications channels erupted with chatter as crew members questioned their orders. In a tense standoff, the fleet commanders were forced to stand down, unable to justify an attack in the face of such compelling evidence. In the aftermath, investigations were launched into the conspiracy on both worlds. As the truth came to light, public opinion swung decisively in favor of continued collaboration. Months later, Elena stood before a joint assembly of human and Zoran leaders. Her voice rang out clear and strong. "Today, we stand at the dawn of a new era. Our work has not only saved the Zoran species, but opened up possibilities we've only begun to explore. Together, we can reach for the stars, not as separate species, but as partners in the greatest adventure of all." The assembly erupted in applause as humans and Zorans alike embraced the vision of a shared future. As Elena left the podium, Zal approached, his skin shimmering with joy. "We did it," he said softly. Elena smiled, her gaze turning to the stars visible through the station's windows. "No, my friend, we've only just begun." In the years that followed, the Human-Zoran alliance flourished. Joint research initiatives led to breakthroughs in medicine, technology, and space exploration. As their combined fleets ventured further into the cosmos, they carried with them a powerful message that diversity, cooperation, and shared knowledge could overcome any obstacle. And at the heart of it all was the unlikely friendship between a human scientist and a Zoran explorer, a testament to the incredible potential that lay in reaching across the stars to connect with others.